Today we're going to be going over the data-driven forecasting and the automated inventory replenishment solution that Juleb offers. Our agenda for today's webinar is very straightforward. We're going to go over what is Juleb as an introduction, the inventory processes and challenges, and then in-depth consideration. And then we're going to go into Juleb's planning solution and what is it and what is the main features of the products that we're delivering for you guys. And then a live demo, and lastly, a case study. And then we're opening up the floor for any questions that you guys have. So what is Juleb? So Juleb is a specialized company in providing and developing high-quality integrated cloud systems to serve the healthcare sector in an innovative way, starting with enabling pharmacies to developing their performance with the related entities. This is not only for pharmacies, but also for distribution. Our solution provides inventory, planning, B2B sales, POS, BI and reporting, purchasing, and lastly, accounting. So let's go over what's an inventory management process and what is a replenishment process. So if you think about it, the process seems really simple, whether you're a distribution center requesting new purchase orders or you're a pharmacy requesting new orders to your warehouse. It starts with the warehouse or the main headquarters that you're ordering to, and then you have branches that you need to order to or like transfer to. So basically the process goes as that. Your main warehouse will deliver those quantities to the branch, and then the branch would request quantities or stocks needed. But if you think about it, it's an endless loop. Who's going to ask who first? Are the branches going to request those quantities to be ordered to them, or are those warehouses just sending out deliveries? And that's only for one warehouse and one branch. Now let's think about it if it was multiple branches and only one warehouse or headquarter. Now we have branch A, B, C, D, and E. If you think about it, now I want to transfer from my warehouse to A, B, C, D, and E. Those processes are going to be manual. You're going to have to think about who gets those quantities first and stuff like that. So let's look into it in depth. So what are the quantities that we need to transfer to each of those branches? We need to look into historical sales. So basically that means what are the quantities that need to be analyzed in previous time for me to send them out. Product factors like pushed items, whether they're promotions, chronic, high moving, filling to min shelf quantity per branch. If you have shelving, you want to make sure that you're filling your branches to have that shelf filled. In the middle is like lost sales and outlier sales. So you want to make sure you kind of consider those outliers. What about the demand quantity is more than the source quantity on hand? So if your warehouse does not have enough for you to deliver to all of your branches, what are you going to do now? And then filling based on high priority branches. And this means you're kind of prioritizing your branches based on classification that we're going to showcase in the demo, coverage periods for transfers, and lastly, frequency of schedule. So how often are you transferring? How many days are you transferring for that you need to retransfer to those branches? So all of these considerations, Juleb Planning Inventory Solution is going to solve it. So Juleb Inventory Planning Solution is a comprehensive tool. It's just not one thing, it's more than one thing, designed to streamline and optimize stock management and all inventory operations. But today specifically, we've had a session a few months ago, but today's specific webinar is going to discuss two things, which is forecasting and replenishment. So forecasting tool, which we will be going in depth in the demo, is to analyze and predict ideal stocks. So for each branch, you need to kind of analyze the previous sales and then kind of understand what is the quantity minimum and maximum that you need. And once you have those, you go to the replenishment. So the replenishment is actually allocating the product or the quantities based on the min and maximum. So you're kind of moving things around based on the minimum and maximum that you already set in the forecasting. With those two features, we can say that using Juleb Planning Solution is far superior to manually sending internal transfers. So it's much, much better. So let's go through a live demo right now. So this is basically the main page for the Juleb planning inventory solution. You're going to have 5 different tabs. Forecasting is basically the analysis part and setting the minimum and maximum. Ordering, it's basically using using dynamic formulas to kind of order from suppliers. And then transferring and min-max replenishment, they're pretty close. Transferring, you do the process of forecasting and then transferring all together. And then for min-max replenishment, you use the min-max that you already had, or minimum and maximum periods that we're going to showcase to kind of replenish different branches and make sure everyone or every branch has what they need. And lastly, updating locations. This is a new tool to kind of update the inventory locations if you have them in our system. You can also change the language to Arabic if you prefer, and different stuff like that. So we're going to go now into actually doing a forecasting analysis. So we click Start with Forecasting. As you can see on the left side, there is the product filter. And here's where you choose the products that you want to analyze or kind of go over. Here it showcases me all of my products, and then you get to filter by brand, supplier, category, receipts. If you have different grading, which I'm going to use for this example, and different matrices under this. And then you can also add or remove basically columns to see if you want to look at different columns when you're doing your analysis. And then you can search by typing or uploading an Excel sheet or even typing them manually one by one. So now I'm just going to go over a grade that I created for this example. So those are all products under grade A. For me, let's say they're high priority, or I would want them to be available for all of my branches. So this is what I graded them. This is grade A. I have my quantities in hand, categories, and everything you see. I'll click apply. That means the analysis that I'm doing is only going to be on those products. There's filter profile, which basically means you save the filter. So after we're done, we can save the filter to use it later. So I don't have to redo all of the steps again. These are the branches that I'm going to use to do my analysis. I can do branch 1, branch 2, branch 3 is my warehouse, so I don't have any sales, or if I want to put it, I can also do that. And B3. I chose 4 branches. If you left it empty, the default is all of your branches. The analysis period is basically the period that you want to look into back in historical sales. So basically, I want to start from beginning of January till today. I want to see all of my sales from beginning of the year to now. Min-max days and forecasted period, those 3 options are pretty much the same. We just give you different options for you to try out. And then for the min and max, once you update them and you like them, you can even click one button and it will update your ERP system within Juleb. And then let's say I put min period days as 10, and then for my max I put 45 days, and the forecast period we kind of give you a default of 30, but you can change this if you like. Pushed items and chronic items mean those items are either pushed, so I want to sell them more, or they're chronic and I want them to be there. And factor basically means if you have them checked. I will show an example. This is a product that I have, and if I go inventory, basically right here, you can see if those products are pushed. So you click through pushed or chronic to give them that checkbox. And that will basically multiply the factor that you have with the number that is the average. For min, max, and forecast period, we will get the averages of the analysis period and then multiply it by days. So if I sold 1 product per day, meaning 30 products for the whole month, that means 1 times 10, which is the minimum, I'm going to have 10 minimum quantities that I need. And then let's look at ignore zero quantity on hand. This is a question that we always get, that you want to make sure that the zero quantity, when you have 0 stock of your product, you want to make sure to kind of not calculate it in your average. Weighted average means that yesterday's date or yesterday's sales are heavier in weight, or like has more weight to your average rather than selling at the beginning of the year, because yesterday's sales are more likely to happen today. Consider lost sales, flagged in sales and POS, and remove outliers. They pretty much add or remove quantities based if they're lost in your point of sale or flagged by a cashier, or lastly, if there's a formula that we can provide for you so you can check it out. So if I click analyze now, it's going to give me my product, which is the 67 products that I have. I can do this. I can minimize stuff to make it look cleaner for me. It shows me branch by branch so I can look through them. So current minimum is the minimum that I have right now in my system. Ceiling, floor, triggers, available quantity, which is basically minus your expired minus the outgoing quantities. So those are different than quantity on hand. Expired is the number of expired quantities within the period that I chose. So beginning of the year till now. Product classification is basically a formula that we created to classify products based on your sales. So the top percentages will take A, B, and C. And then sold are the number, the actual quantities sold within the period you chose. If you have lost sales, adjusted sold. So if you multiply this, so this adjusted sold will take the multiplication of if I added pushed or chronic, it will have different numbers right here. Zero quantity, how many days the product had zero stock. That's the number of days right here. The average sold, minimum, maximum, the annual sales, maximum, and then forecast. And I can look through different branches to see what is different. And then I can also filter by my classes. And then you can also export these Excel sheets if you like. You can add or remove column based on your needs. And then if you manually update, basically any of these, you can update them one by one, or if you click next, you can immediately click this update button and it will update all of your minimum and maximum based on the formulas that you just created, and it will update them for all of the branches. Now let's imagine, I'm not going to do it now, but let's imagine that I clicked update and I checked my numbers, everything looks good, I like it so far. Now I want to do the actual replenishment. I want to start transferring from my warehouse or headquarters to all of the other branches. So what am I going to do? Basically, I'm going to start from min-max replenishment. So I click start. Same thing, you choose the products. I kept the grade A, so I want the same products that I just analyzed. I make sure everything works for me. I click apply. Then you choose from branch. From branch basically means it's the branch you want to transfer from. It's the source. So now I want to choose my warehouse. And then I want to transfer to which branches? I want to transfer to B1, B2, and let's, for example, have B4. So now I'm transferred from B3 to B1, B2, and B4. You can also have grouping. If you group your branches, you can use different groups like Saturday deliveries, Monday deliveries, and stuff like that. And then you have using moving window. Moving window basically means there's a period, rather than doing the whole analysis again, you can do a mini part of it. And this will use, basically you can choose the period that you want. I want the same period. It will use those two fields, which is the product max and product minimum. And those two fields, we will multiply whatever average of these numbers. So I'll get the average in the analysis period and multiply it by the period in my product card. So rather than having a manual input, so this one will fill me exactly always to 35 quantities, and this will only fill me to 1. So I want it to be more dynamic. So here I will fill to 14 days, and that will give me the average, whatever number that is, and same thing with max period. So I will click apply, and now as you can see, let me just do that so we can see different products. I will close this one down. I can also add or remove columns. So let's say I have these products in promotion, so I can check out of all of my products, these products were in promotions at a certain time. And then yeah, so basically all you see here is product ALU, which is the default code that you have, name, promotion, source quantity in hand, which is my branch 3, which is my warehouse, and the available quantity, which is minus the expired, minus the transfers or outgoing, destination, which is this one. So here, let me add the branch. So you see, so B2, B4, and B1, they all have 0 for this specific product. The minimum, maximum per branch, the maximum, minimum periods, and average solds. The maximum quantities, if we do this, we can see that the average sold times the maximum period, which is 90 days, gives me 106 minimum and order quantity. Now I'm looking through it, I'm trying different matrices to fill my order quantity. The order quantity, the last column you see here, is basically the quantity that you're going to use to do the transferring between the main warehouse and the other branches. So what you do is select all your products, or if you want to choose different products, that's also fine. You're going to fill to, do you want to do product maximum, which is this maximum, right? I'm going to click apply. It's going to fill it. Let's see this one. This one is 50 quantity only. Why is that? So basically the source only has 50 quantities. So I cannot transfer more than what I have. And then if I realize there's a button called order unavailable products, this tells me, well, I have products with 0 quantities that I need to order from my suppliers now. It's going to give me the option to go to the ordering process directly. If you guys have the access to that, you're going to see it and then start the ordering process, which we did in the previous webinar. But for now, we're not going to do that. And then there's also remove unavailable. So any products that has 0 in the source will be removed. 198. So I removed those products that in my source, in my warehouse, I don't have them, so I removed them. So now I'm filling different quantities and different stuff, and it will always take the source quantity to be filling to the max of that. And then let's say the destination here is 86, and then it's subtracted. If it needs, it will subtract that number from the order quantity. You can also filter the maximum that we just had. Exactly. This one is 18, but as you can see here, your destination has 400. So you're requesting 18, but you have already 400. So it's going to tell you this branch, even if they're requesting it, they have enough quantities to kind of keep them going for the next period that you had. So that's how you kind of fill. Let's use an example of manual. So let's say I want to transfer 100 for all of my branches. Oops. Then choose the branches. Okay. Okay. Now let's say I filled to a manual quantity that I want to transfer to 100. I can see right here all of the products that I want, right? And then it fills to 80. This means that my source only had 80 quantity on hand, or 80 available actually. And then I will look into this, and then I can see what are the quantities that has 0. I will click remove 0 ordered because I don't have enough to transfer to those. I will remove them. So basically I only have 170 lines. You can also refresh the source quantity. If you just accepted receipts, you can also do that. Now let's look into this. This product, the Derma cream, let's say, has B2, B4, and B1, all requesting it. My source has 80, and then all of them have 0, and all of them want 80. How am I going to distribute 80 across these 3 branches? I'm going to click on create transfer, and if I click here, I have different options. Do I want it to be manual? Do I want to edit each one manually? Do you want to do it based on classes, so branch classes? Now let's do the same thing. This is the Derma cream. I have B1 as class A, B, and C. So class A would take the most, and then if there's more leftover of the quantity, I'll go to B class and then C. So if I only have 80 and the one requesting it is 80, so I cannot give more, and it will just distribute based on that. So for this one, this is 99, and the last one was given to class B. Or do I want to do it based on total percentages? As you can see, it distributed for all of, so you don't have to do it manually for each line, but basically it does it for you. So this one distributed equally across all my branches for the same product. So this one, Derma, the source is 80. Now I need to divide it equally. You see the decimal points right here. This is not always the case, so it depends. If you allow decimal points for the product, so for my cream, I can divide it, let's say. So basically you can allow for it to be divided here. And then if you like it, you can go back. I can adjust different things here. And if you like it like that, you will just click OK. And then those transfers are going to be created. Okay. And it will just take a second. And then on the right, left, on the right bottom, there's created transfers. If I click on it, I'm going to see the progress of my transfers. As you can see, 3 transfers is creating, and then I will see the progress of all of my transfers right here. You can validate them. As you can see, this one is draft. I can check it. I click on this. It will take a second to open that up, and then you can even print out all of your transfers or whatever you want to print out. It's going to be right here. This is the transfers that was just created by me from the warehouse, which is branch 3 to branch 2. And it gives you the reference, which is it came from planning module. And it has all the quantities that we already had. Okay, so now I can validate them for here or through the system. So that's the full demo that we have for today. Now let's go back to the presentation. This tool was used by one of our customers to achieve over 85% automations. So before Juleb, there were inefficient processes, previously relied on outdated system, requiring manual work and kind of determining the stock levels for each branch. After Juleb, after they used Juleb, it enhanced efficiency. So they have real-time, all-in-one platform, centralized operation, and kind of removed the manual processes. And then for the second point, they also, it was very, very time consuming. So creating 20 to 30 transfers took a whole day. Now 20 to 30 transfers, as you saw, I can create them. Those 3 transfers were created with only a button. It depends on your flexibility. So 20 to 30 can take you 3 to 5 minutes. And then financial losses, so manual restocking and assumptions. If you're doing your formulas manually and trying to calculate, this will either lead to overstocking or even understocking, which is shortage. But with Juleb, you have increased availability and coverage, making sure the product is always there without overstocking, shortage, or errors. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, please add them to the box, and we're going to try to answer all of your questions. Today, we're going to be going over